Hi guys, I'm just going to turn off commenting and definitely request for doing yoga with me another time. I'm Christine from Namaste Home Yoga. Welcome to the practice. For anyone that is just getting settled in, trying to work out live, you've got a couple of moments, so no need to rush at this stage. What this practice is designed for is while we're all in lockdown or whatever your country's choice has been in regards to COVID, you're probably not getting to a studio. So if yoga is something that you've had in your life and it's something you regularly do, you're probably not getting to a studio to practice. Here's your solution. If you are looking to roll in some more fitness into your routine while you're doing lockdown, maybe it's the first time you've done yoga, welcome. This is going to be perfect. Today's class is about hip openers. And the reason why I'm more passionate about hip openers is that the tighter that your hip flexors are, so these muscles at the front, the tighter they are, the more strain they place onto the lower back. For anyone that's watched any of my other videos, you know that I have a spinal injury, and with that comes sciatica. Some of the solutions to try and open that up and give you some more relief is to really open up through those hips. So that's today's focus. What I would say is that hip flexors in particular become shorter or tighter, and that's from our lifestyles now of sitting and sitting quite extensively for long periods of time. When you think about the human body and how it's built and what it's made for, it definitely isn't built to sit at a desk for 8, 9, I hope you're not doing more than 10 hours a day of sitting. And now that we're all working, most of us are working from home, you're probably sitting at a desk that isn't the best. It's not very ergonomic. So we're even more putting some strain onto those hip flexors. So we're going to open up through those. If you've been to any of my other classes, you know I'm passionate about the topic of checking your ego, and that's something I have to check myself constantly, particularly that my injury has resulted in loss of flexibility, loss of ability of movement, loss of range of movement. And I need to check it, but I also want you to check your ego as well. And the reason being that I can't see you. So this isn't a normal yoga class where I could walk around and go, oh, maybe just a little bit here, or maybe pick up the back knee. So you're going to have to check the ego, that if you hear me say if you want more, so we're dialing up the intensity of that pose, if you're already feeling it in that position, there is no need to keep pushing it further. We need to work within the limits or the range of mobility that's available for you today. It doesn't mean in the future that you won't be able to take it further and be able to dial up that position. But you don't want to try and achieve that all today on the mat for the first time, or be it, your first year, 2 years in yoga. Keep working within your range of movement or range of mobility, because if you don't and you push further than you need to because your ego is telling you that it should look like this, I should be doing that, I'm better than this, that black belt ego that we have that's telling you should be something that you're not. Try and check that ego, because if you do push further than you need to, we're going to run into injuries, which then means you can't practice on the regular. More regular practice means that we're going to be able to sink further, hold things longer, have more stability in poses. So let's not push it too far today. Check the ego and make sure throughout the class, if you ever feel, oh, I've had enough, I don't want to push anymore, you just jump into that child's pose, which I'll demonstrate before we jump into anything further. Give yourself a rest, regain that composure of the breath, and then rejoin the class. Okay, on that note, hip openers, hips don't lie. All morning I've had that Shakira song stuck in my head. But if you had a lot of Easter eggs, it's definitely time to get what we've done off our hips. So I'm going to jump into a comfortable seated position. And we're going to start with just some gentle stretching, just to really land on the mat, but also warm up the body before we commence into asanas or those normal practices. I like to start with the neck and work our way down. With your neck, let's start with right ear, right shoulder, just laying the head across, right ear, right shoulder. Just check your posture in this position. Are your shoulders rolled back and down? Are you sitting tall? If you like a little more, again, you can place your hand, just a tiny bit of pressure on the top of your head. If you want a bit more, it's nice sometimes to place that left hand onto the mat, just for that little bit of extra down the side of the neck. We'll hold that for 2 more breaths. And on your next inhale, we're going to release that top hand if it's there, laying the left ear to left shoulder. Again, just double check your posture. Still sitting tall, we haven't sort of sunk back into our childhood memories of being in assembly for hours on end. For 2 more breaths. And on your next inhale, release the hand from the top of the head, bring the neck back to neutral. We're going to exhale and chin to chest. So we bring our chin to chest, we exhale, empty the lungs, and we're going to roll the neck, right ear, right shoulder, rolling it back. And as you come around, exhale as you come further through to chin to chest. Rolling around, don't rush in this position. There's a real temptation to sort of crank the neck around. Very gentle. And again, focus on your breath. This is a nice position to start aligning your breath with movement, which will help you throughout the practice. As we move into more difficult poses, your breath will help you sink further. When you reach chin to chest, just reverse the circle. Inhaling as you come up and back. And as you roll down, exhaling, chin to chest, empty lungs. Inhale as you come up. Inhale full as you come back from around, rolling down, chin to chest. 1 more, leaving out the circles. Right ear, right shoulder. Up and back. Left ear, left shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. As you inhale, bring the head back up to neutral. We're going to now wake up through the core of the body and through the sides. So we're going to start with opening through the chest. So with your hands, you can either make a bind behind, or what I like to do is just span my fingers behind. My pinkies come close together, and then I roll my arms inwards. My elbows are aiming to come close to each other, shoulders up and down, tipping the head back and pushing my chest, my heart center, upwards towards the sky. You should feel a nice chest opening position in this one. We'll hold this for 5 breaths. 4, 3, remember your posture, don't sink back into your lower back, push the chest forward. 2, and on the 1, as you inhale, bring the hands back around in front of you. We're going to do a seated spinal twist. So starting with my left hand onto my right knee, I'm going to take my right hand behind me, I'm going to place it just behind my hips, and then look behind, gazing over my right shoulder. And again, watch your posture if you haven't sunk. Push that chest up and pull energy through that crown chakra. Looking behind you. Nice gentle twist. Hold this for 5, 4, 3, 2, and on your next inhale, bringing the hands back round to the front. You're going to swap it on the other side. So right hand, left knee, taking your left hand behind your hips, sitting tall, and as you exhale, gaze back over your left shoulder. Remember that posture, sitting nice and tall, energy through the heart and the crown chakra. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, and on your next inhale, releasing that back hand, bringing it through to the front. I'm going to jump onto the mat now. You guys are probably already there, which is fantastic news. We're going to come into what's called tabletop position. It's the equivalent of looking like a table. So it's important that we look after our wrists and really stack bone on bone and bone in this position. So check to see that your wrists are stacked under your elbows, are stacked under your shoulders. You don't want it sort of splaying out in front or too far back. I know I'm exaggerating that for extreme purpose, but you'd be surprised what I see in classes. So we've stacked our wrists, we've really spread the fingers wide. And what I would say is for anyone that's ever had wrist pain from yoga, try and push through the meaty part of your hand between your thumb and your pointer finger. So let's just practice that start in our tabletop, pushing through that fleshy part between the thumb and your index finger. Right, our knees are going to be stacked under our hips, making a nice table position. From this, we're going to do cat-cow. So as we inhale, we drop the belly, tailbone pushes up, we look up, and then as we exhale, we roll through, rounding our back, pushing the mat away, looking through to our belly button there, scooping our lower belly in. And then as we inhale, we let that belly drive towards the floor, tailbone pushes up, looking up with the eyes, opening through the chest. As you exhale, emptying this air, all the air out of your belly, looking through to your belly button, pulling that belly button into the spine, scooping the belly in. One more. As we inhale, we're going to look up, belly sinks down, tailbone drives up. Last time. We're going to exhale as we come through, rounding through the back, pushing the mat away, looking at our belly button, scooping that belly in. And on your next inhale, coming back to neutral spine. From here, we're going to just open our shoulders. So we're going to do what's called threading the needle. And you're going to take, let's start with our left hand, weight goes into the right hand. We're going to take our left hand and place it between the gap of wrist and right knee. So placing that hand all the way through, bringing our ear down towards the mat and pushing that tailbone up and back behind you. You should feel a nice stretch through the shoulders. And hold that one for 5, 4, 3, remember the long breaths, 2, and on the 1, as you inhale, pushing through that right hand, weight goes up, placing our left hand down. Remember that continually kept checking your form in your tabletop position. Taking your right hand, threading it through the gap there. I'm going to place your ear down to the mat, pushing that tailbone high, feeling that stretch through the shoulder. Holding that for 5, 4, 3, 2. And on your next inhale, pushing your weight through that left hand, bringing the body back up, placing both of our hands back into tabletop position. We're going to do a little bit of abs work to begin. We're going to start with a tabletop hover. So mixing it up from our normal routine here. Tabletop hover means, again, focus on pressing that fleshy part of the hand between your thumb and your pointer finger into the mat. We're going to hover on our tops of our feet, pulling our knees up. It'll look like this. Maybe peek at your screen at the moment and see how my knees have come up. Just ever so gently. So we're going to do that together. On your next inhale, push away the mat, push through the hands, pull your knees off the mat. We're going to hold this for 10, 9, scoop that belly in, 8, 7, you've got this, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and on the 1, lowering them back down. Sit back onto your heels, bringing your hand out in front of you. This is Balasana, or your child's pose, where you release your head to the mat, hands go out in front. This is the position I'd like you to come into at any stage throughout the practice where the shaking has become just too much and you need that moment just to regain your breath. So come into Balasana, or child's pose, surrender onto the mat, pushing that tailbone back onto your heels, and bringing, if possible and it's available to you, your head onto the floor. We'll just hold this for 5, Keep the hands spread wide. 3, 2. And on the 1, we're going to carve a line with our nose, leading with the nose first, looking up, putting some weight to the hands, pressing back up with our knees, coming back into this tabletop position. Check again. Have I got wrists stacked under elbows, stacked under shoulders? Are my knees underneath my hips? We'll do some quick abs because I'm obsessed with backs and making sure that backs are healthy. Having a strong core helps this as well. So I'm going to place my weight into my right hand and I pick up my left. And we're going to do opposites. So you've got your opposite being your right leg, left hand. If you've got this wrong, both hands will be on one side and you'll be having quite some fun trying to balance in that one. So let's do our opposites. If you're new to yoga or beginning your practice, this may be where you stay. And then as we come in, you're going to release your hand and your knee back to the mat and then pick it back up again. For the rest of us that want to dial it up a bit more, check your ego in this position. We're going to bring it in as you exhale. Elbow and knee connection. And bring it out as you inhale. Exhale, bring elbow to knee. And as you inhale, bringing it back out. Exhale, bringing it in. Pause. Inhale, bring them back out. Remember, don't do banana backs in this position. Always scoop your lower belly in. Last 2. Exhale, bringing it in. Elbow to knee. Inhale to come out. On our final one, I want you to pause in that center, bringing that knee into the chest, holding it for 5. If you're in this position and we're dialing it down for today, I just want you to do tiny pulses, very tiny pulses, while we hold for 5. So let's do it. Exhale to come in. Knee and elbow connection, pull it in towards the chest, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, you've got this. 1, inhale, bring it out, dropping the hand and the knee back to the mat. Whew. If you're feeling in these positions that your wrists may be a little bit tight, bit sore, you can also do one thing here. It's just to spiral your wrist around very gently. Dialing your wrists around on the mat can actually start to open them up. Be very gentle. I think I might do a video about wrist strength and the amount of expectation we have on such tiny joints. So if you've spiraled them around, if you want to dial this up just a little bit, you can lean back ever so slightly just to release your wrists in that one. Okay, let's commence that on the other side. Check your posture. Have I got wrists under elbows, under shoulder? We've just been putting our weight into our right hand, so we're going to put it into our left. We're going to pick up our right hand opposite, so you've got the left leg behind. Inhale to prepare, and exhale as we come in. Knee and elbow connection. Inhale, bring it back out. Keep that back nice and flat, no banana backs. Bring it in. Knee and elbow connection. Inhale, back out. Neutral spine. Exhale, bring it in. Inhale, coming back out. 2 more. Exhale, bringing it in. Elbow, knee. Inhale, back out. Check that scooped in spine, that scooped in belly. Remember in this one, if we're dialing it down, just tiny pulses while we hold. For those that want more, exhale, bringing it in, elbow to knee. Scoop that knee into the chest cavity, holding for 5, 4, remember your breath. 3, 2, you've got this. 1, inhale, extend the arms and legs long. Bring them back to the mat. I'm just going to release back into Balasana again so we can check that position. From here, sit in the knees, bring the tailbone back onto the heels, release the head down. Your variation on this is to bring your hands back towards your feet, making yourself into quite a small ball onto the mat. Balasana, child's pose. This is a nice surrender position and one to regain strength when you've been doing quite a lot of work, and a nice one particularly if you want to rest your wrists. Holding for 3, 2, and on the 1. Leading with the nose. Nose comes up, draw a line in front of you. Release the hands back to the mat, coming back into that tabletop position. We're going to come into downward dog. So curling the toes behind us, pushing the tailbone up and back. This one is the ugly dog of the practice. Nobody should be making beautiful shapes at this stage. Just play with it. Warm up through the ankles, through the wrists. Pedal your feet. But again, just a slow pedal. No need to be winning any cycling awards on the mat this morning. Maybe tip up onto the toes, back and forth. Bend the knees as generously as you like. Bring the chest towards the knees. Feels good. From here, if we were going to start our hands and work our way back to getting a good solid foundation for our downward dog, I always forget these, elbow creases, what a word. Our hands are splayed on the mat, pushing down through that fleshy part between our pointer and our thumb. Our elbow creases are facing each other. Our head is released. Any tension in the neck, you're not holding tension there. Maybe shake it yes, shake it no. Looking between our feet. Our feet are hip distance apart. Our tailbone is driving up. As I push my chest towards the mat, my tailbone naturally rises. My heels are aiming for the floor. From here, we're going to take little baby steps. Tiny, don't rush. Walking ourselves towards the front of the mat. Bend your knees as generously as you like. Just gently walking them forward. Coming into a comfortable ragdoll position. So you can have your feet hip distance or together, not precious on that one. Bend the knees as much as you like. Just let the arms hang long. Again, release any tension in the neck. Shake it yes, shake it no. If it feels comfortable, you enjoy this extra sort of weight, it's nice to grab your elbows. Just a very gentle swing from side to side. Now I know I sound like a broken record, but in these forward folds, always with your weight into your toes, so you're not pushing back through, leaning back through your glutes. You want to be leaning into your toes, almost tipping slightly, ever so slightly forward. On your next inhale, release the hands long in front of you, and we're going to slowly roll up, vertebrae by vertebrae, keeping that weight in the toes. Slowly roll up, let the hands hang long in front. Rolling up, don't rush. And as you roll up, the last thing to come up will be your head. And as you do, roll the shoulders back. Give them 3 rolls back, bringing the shoulders up towards the ears and snuggling them back into their shoulder sockets. And then once you've done 3, reverse it on the other side. Great. So I think we're ready for our Surya Namaskar, or our sun salutation. I say this every time, maybe I am getting to be a broken record. We're doing version C. Okay, so from this, we're going to come into our Tadasana, that mountain pose, the strongest pose that you've probably felt all day. It's 9 a.m. in the UK, so maybe you haven't felt many poses yet. Bringing our feet together, our heels together, really bringing them as close as possible, drawing energy up the front of the shins, engaging through the glutes, engaging through our thighs, really dialing some energy up through, extend through the lower back, pull energy up, bring those shoulders up, down, back, and hands are going to be splayed at the side, fingers are going to be nice and engaged, chin parallel with the floor. So this is your proud pose, your posture is fantastic in this one. We're going to inhale, arms come up. You're going to do a slight back bend, and only from the upper part of your back, no dumping into the lower back here. Slight back bend, and then you're going to exhale, bring the hands to prayer, namaste your chest. On your next inhale, arm comes up. Slight back bend from the upper back. Exhale, diving forward into your forward fold, leading with your chin out. Keeping that back nice and flat. Bend the knees as generously as you want in this position. Weight comes into the toes. From here, bend the knees, make connection with the mat, stepping back with our right foot. Low lunge, right knee comes to the floor. You're going to look up, open through the chest, and we're going to push those hip flexors down towards the mat. That front of the hip comes down. We're already starting to work on our opening of our hips. Right, we're going to pick up that back knee. We're going to bring that left foot back to meet the right into our plank position. Again, check your wrists and your form here. Are my wrists under my elbows, under my shoulders, or have I sunk backwards or way too far forwards? Check that one. Scoop that lower belly in. Engage the glutes. Drive them together. We're going to lower down, yogi push-up. Elbows are going to come past the ribs. Chaturanga. Slow it down. As you release to the mat, untuck the toes. As you inhale, come on up. Pushing the floor away, but try not to dump too much weight into your hands. Just to your belly button. Exhale, coming down. Tuck the toes. Pushing back up. Tailbone goes back behind you. We're going to come into downward facing dog. Let's check. Fingers nice, spread and wide. Elbow creases facing each other. Releasing any tension in the neck. Chest is pushing towards the mat. Tailbone's coming up, heels are driving down. On your next inhale, we're going to lead with our left. Left foot comes forward, low lunge. Back knee drops down. Looking up, open through the chest. Hip flexor driving towards the floor. Pick up that back knee. Right foot comes to meet left. Forward fold. Again, knees generously bent. There's absolutely no need to be making pretty shapes or having ego moments here. We're going to root to rise, so spreading our wings wide. Come on up. Arms come up, facing up to the sky. Slight back bend from the upper body. Diving forward again, forward fold, chin comes out. Slow it down, no need to rush. Weights into the balls of our feet. Bend the knees as generously as you like. Make connection with the mat. Stepping back with our left foot. Low lunge. Back knee comes down. Open up through the chest. Look up. Push that hip flexor down towards the floor. And your next inhale, pick up that back knee. Right foot steps back to meet left. We're back in that plank position. Check where your hands are. Spread the fingers wide. Scoop that lower belly in, engage through the glutes, and we're going to lower down for chaturanga. As you lower down, if it's new to yoga for you, maybe put the knees down and then lower down to the mat. Don't rush. When you reach the mat, untuck the toes. Coming up into your cobra, just to your belly button, and lowering back down, tucking the back toes. Pushing up. If you're new to yoga, maybe you come up onto your knees and then you push your heels back behind you. We check our status of our downward dog again. Are my hands spread wide? Are the folds of my elbows facing each other? Is there tension in my neck? Let that one go. Look between the heels. Chest comes towards the mat. Tailbone drives up. Heels coming towards the floor. We're going to step forward with our right on this one. So right comes forward. Low lunge. Look up. Open through the chest. Hips driving forward and down. Picking that back foot up. We're going to step through. Left meets right. Forward fold. Weights in the balls of our feet. Bend the knees as generously as you need. Root to rise, arms come wide, span your wings, looking up. Slight back bend at the top. And as you exhale, hands to prayer, namaste, heart position. Inhale. Exhale. Regain control of that breath. On your next inhale, arms come up. Slight back bend at the top. As you exhale, chin comes forward. Leading with the chin, nice flat back for as long as you can hold that one. Don't rush, coming down. Make connection with that mat. Stepping back with the right. Low lunge. And this is where we start to change it up. Today's about opening through our hips. This is one of the best ways we can do that. So we're going to just make sure, I can not repeat this enough, your knees don't splay out or splay in. Your knee doesn't come past your toes. Keep that 90 degree. Again, I can't see you, so let's check our form together. Make sure that's okay. From here, we're going to release that back toe so our foot comes back flat with the mat. Anytime you're in a yoga position for quite a while, make sure that you release your toes. You want to keep that tension through the body. We're going to inhale, and as we do, we bring the arms up. We're going to lean into that front knee, so pushing the hips forward and down. You should feel a nice stretch already through that hip flexor. Then we're going to do a slight back bend here, crescent low lunge. Leading with the hands, following the hands with the eyes. Push that tailbone down and your hips open. You should feel that through the front hip. Holding this for 3, 2, and on the 1, we're going to open our hands out. So you're going to face towards the camera, facing towards me. This will feel like when we twist open into Warrior 2. This one is called your revolved low lunge. So twist through with your core. Open up through the hips, engaging through the glutes. Hands come out long. I can almost guarantee your back hand, which will be your right, will sort of wave it down. Try and drive it up. You should feel a real shake through the chest. If you can, try and dial those shoulder blades back in, snuggle them back in and down. Holding for 5, 4, sink into that front knee. 3, 2. Now on the 1, we're going to do a revolved side angle. So a revolved side angle means I'm taking my right elbow, I'm going to place it on the outside of my left knee, and I'm going to connect my hands into a namaste position. So it will look like this. I'm going to practice it on the other side so you can see exactly what I mean. It will be your right elbow coming out and making a position like this. So the secret to this position is that when I place the back of your triceps across my thigh, I don't sink into or put loads of pressure on that front leg. And then as I open through the chest, I'm going to push my hands together, a nice wrist workout. Pushing your hands together to open through the chest. And I'm going to sink a little bit further into that bent knee. Holding this for 5, open through the chest. 4, 3, don't dump into that front leg. 2, and on the 1, we're going to do a half split. Hands come down, framing the foot. What I would say though is if you're feeling any tension or tightness in the knee, you can roll your mat over, doubling it over to create a little bit of extra padding. So you might need that depending on how thick your yoga mat is. Again, no ego moments here, fold it up, protect your knees, and we can train again tomorrow. So we've framed our foot. We're coming into what's called a half split pose. So if you're trying to get towards splits, I mean really, but if you are, go for it. We're going to sink the hips back, walk the hands slightly back towards your leg, pulling the toes of the foot towards the face. Just check your posture in this one, that you're not falling in and out, your knee hasn't sort of splayed in and out. Toes towards the face. You should feel a really nice stretch all down the back of your leg. Hamstrings through the calves. Holding this for 5, 4, 3, 2, see if you can sink a little bit further back. And on the 1, we're going to roll through that front foot. Bring the hands back to frame the foot. Tuck the toes of the back leg. Lift the back leg up. Taking that left foot to meet the right. And you come back into your plank position. But here we're going to roll back into downward facing dog. Just step the feet back. Let's check our posture again. Are my fingers nice and wide? Have I pushed down the fleshy part of my hand between my thumb and my pointer? Are my elbow creases, I struggle with that, elbow crease. Are my elbow creases facing each other? Have I released any tension in the neck? Looking back through my feet. Chest dials down, tailbone comes up, heels coming towards the mat. From here, we're going to step forward with the other leg. So, in that one, we had our left leg forward. We're going to step forward with our right. We're going to put our left knee onto the mat, low lunge. Again, check your posture in this one with holding it for a while. If you want to protect the knee and you need some more padding, roll that yoga mat to double it up for yourself. So you've got a little bit extra padding for the knee. Check you've got a 90-degree angle with that front foot, and release the back toes down. Anytime we're in a yoga position for quite some time, just release that tension from the body. Okay, from this one we're going to come into a crescent low lunge. So you're going to suck the tension into the body. We're going to bring the hands up from the mat. You're going to look up to your hands. We're going to push the hip flexors down and forward, keeping that tension through the glutes. Slight back bend, following your hands, leading with your hands and the gaze follows. Pushing those hip flexors down and forward towards the front of the mat. We're going to hold this for 5, 4, 3, 2, and on the 1, we're going to open up like we would if we were going into warrior 2. Opening our hands out wide. From this position, pull those shoulder blades down and together. Really crank through the midsection of the body. Use that as the reason that's pulling you open. Check that front knee hasn't dialed in or dialed out. Holding this for 5, 4, 3, 2. And on the 1, we're going to do that tricky one where it was revolved side angle stretch. So we're bringing our left elbow over our right knee, connecting our hands, namaste position at your chest. And we're going to push our connection through our hands, open through that chest. Pull that top shoulder back, opening up. If it's available to you, look up. Holding this for 5, 4, 3, sink into that front knee, 2, and on the 1, we're going to bring our hands back, framing the foot. We're going to lean back into that half split pose, so we bring the weight of our glutes back towards that bent back leg. We're going to bring our toes facing towards the face. Holding this for 5, 4, maybe you can sink a little lower, 3, 2, and on the 1, we're going to inhale to prepare, rolling back through that front foot. Hands still come to frame the face. We're going to curl our back toes under, pick up the back knee, come into that plank position. I'm going to scoop that lower belly in, holding this for 5, 4, engage those glutes, 3, push the mat away, 2, And on the one, bring it back for downward facing dog. Adjust your feet as you need to. Check your stance. Hands spread wide. Creases of my elbows facing each other. Tension in my neck has been released. Looking back between my toes. Chest calling me towards the mat. Heels driving down, tailbone coming up. Holding this for 3, 2, and on the 1, we're going to bring the knees down. Bringing the knees as wide as the yoga mat. Big toes connect behind. Sinking the heels, sinking the hips back towards the heels. Releasing the head down. Walking the hands out in front. Nice surrender position, this one. If you feel any tension through your shoulders in this position, sometimes nice to bring the hands together in a namaste position, a prayer position, behind the nape of the neck. You'll still feel that your tailbone is driving towards your heels, but you're still getting the same release through the shoulders if you're quite tight, which can definitely happen with our modern day lifestyles. Okay, to come out of this one, carve a line with your nose, leading with the nose up. Pulling the weight back into the hands, walking the hands back towards our knees, bringing our knees together. I'm going to come into this as a hero's pose. In your hero's pose, you're just sitting back onto your heels. We're just going to do a nice chest opener. So taking your hands, tucking them under your toes. Now again, this is an ego moment of do I or don't I? Find what feels good in this one. I like to stretch the tops of my feet while I do my shoulder openers and my chest openers. So I tuck my fingers under my toes and I bring my shoulder blades back, snuggling them in towards each other. I'm going to look up and open through my chest, pushing my heart center towards the ceiling. Chin should be coming towards the ceiling. Don't release it back if it's too far. Just a nice gaze upwards. Holding this for 5. Shoulders away from the ears. 4, 3, 2, and on the 1, releasing the toes back down. Runs up that bind. Hands come out in front. We're going to bump our hips to one side. Doesn't matter which side. I'm going to bring the legs out in front of us. Okay. So in this position, this is your Dandasana or your staff pose. What I'd ask is that your toes are pointed towards your face. We've pulled the fleshy parts of our glutes out, so we're sitting onto our sit bones. You're going to sit nice and tall, pulling that energy through the crown chakra. We're going to do a tiny little bit of abs before I bring you down, laying onto the mat in prone position. Bring your hands out in front of you like train tracks. Scoop that lower belly in. Chin parallel with the floor. We're going to slowly roll back, keeping those toes pointed at the face. Rolling back, scooping that belly in, slowly rolling back towards the floor for 10, 9, 8. Keep those legs pressed against the mat. 7, 6. Don't listen to that internal chatter, you've got this. 5, we're halfway. 4, 3, keep that chest nice and open, ears away from, shoulders away from the ears. 2, and on the 1, release down onto the mat, arms and legs out long. Give your body a good stretch. That feels good. Okay. We're going to do one last position, which is your happy baby pose. Nice release for the lower back. When you've got quite tight hamstrings, tight hip flexors, happy baby is quite a wonderful position, and then we'll finish with a nice spinal twist. So, happy baby, bringing both knees into the chest. We're going to extend our hands on the inside, reaching up into our arches of our feet, or if you prefer, take the peace fingers to the big toe. I like the arches of the feet. I feel like they need a lot more love, but I have to say my footwear has become less and less with this working from home. So from this position, you want to grab both of your arches of your feet. We're going to have our feet nice and flat as if we were walking on the ceiling. We're going to pull the knees into the armpit area. Heels dial up towards the ceiling, and our tailbone, if you can, rock that down, push it down towards the mat. Do you see what I mean? If you sneak a little look at the camera right now, if I push my tailbone down and then I pull my knees into my armpits, see that little rock that happens there? That's going to give you a nice release for the lower back. Options here is to roll, give yourself a nice lumbar spine massage. We're not getting to massage parlours anymore, are we? Sad times. We'll hold this for 5. What I would say is with the counting, time under tension is something I'm quite passionate about. If you hold a position for a period of time rather than spiraling through it quite quickly, you'll actually feel that the muscles will release, so you'll get deeper into that pose, but they'll actually work harder because they have to stay in that position for longer. So it is an effective way to build stability, build strength and flexibility, to have some time under tension. Okay, we've held this one long enough. Bring the feet together, knees together. Give yourself a nice little rock and roll here of hugging the chest, hugging the knees into the chest. And then we're going to release your right knee down, bringing that leg all the way, extend it out long. Left leg, extend that one out long. Just give yourself a little rock back and forth. Make sure the lower spine, your lower back is quite happy. We want to make a nice connection with the mat. So always think about tilting your hips, tilting your pelvis towards your face. So that little tilt will actually make a smooth connection with the lower back. Nice spinal twist here is to take your right knee into the chest and then dial it across the body, bringing it towards the floor. With your right hand, we're going to extend that out long. We're going to look to our right hand away from that bent knee. You should feel a nice stretch through that spine. It's a spinal release, this one. Occasionally, if you're lucky, you'll hear a nice little pop. A gentle pop, please. Try and keep both of your shoulders touching the mat. We'll hold this for 5. 4, you might want to place a little bit of weight onto that bent knee. 3, 2, and on the 1. Using your abs, bring that knee back into the midline of the body. Release it down flat to the mat. Picking up our left leg, bringing it in towards the body, and then dialing it across the body. Knee comes ideally 90 or a bit higher. Your left arm out long. From the shoulder nice and flat. 2 shoulders touching the mat. A little bit of weight on that bent knee. Looking away from the bent knee towards your left hand. In this position in classes, I always have to say, can you see your bent knee? You're looking the wrong way. So just keep that gaze towards your left hand. Again, you should feel a nice release through the spine, through the lower back. We'll hold this for another 3 breaths. Two breaths. And on your last breath, as you inhale, using your abs, bring that knee back in towards the body. Give it one last little hug towards there. You bring both knees in. Give them one last little hug. We're going to prepare for Shavasana. Extend both legs out long in front of you. Let them just splay open. Legs fall to each side. Arms, palms facing up. It's more comfortable if you bring them away from the body. So your Shavasana or your surrender pose of these ones, corpse pose you'll hear it said, is just an ultimate release, making ourselves as big and as just splattered on the mat. If you find you have pain in this position, sometimes you find it's in the lower back, you might tilt the hips, tilt the pelvis towards the face. It's going to be a slight active pose, but it'll keep your lower back flush with the mat. Your other option is to bring your feet as wide as the mat and then let the knees sink in so they kiss in the middle. That's going to again bring that pelvis towards the floor, and it's a nice release. It's just the same with your corpse pose in Shavasana. Never feel like you have to be a statue. If you feel a niggle or a bit of pain, I want you to move around, find what works, and then readjust. So for me today, I'm going to bring both my knees in to kiss the mat. I kiss together at the center. I'm going to bring my palms facing the ceiling. I'm going to close my eyes, and I'd ask everyone to do the same if it's available to you. So close your eyes now. And we're just going to surrender. Think long inhales in. Really feel that lower belly push, big belly breath. Fill your lungs. And then exhale, let all the air out. Again, inhale, big belly breath. Exhale. Place a focus on any tension you might have across the top of your forehead. Really try and relax the skin of the face. Place a focus onto your jaw. Is there any tension you're holding there? Try and breathe into that. And as you do so, exhale, release that tension. Place a focus on your neck and your shoulders. You store a lot of tension there. You inhale into those areas. And as you exhale, sink further. Your next inhale, place a focus on your wrists, your hands and your palms. Breathe into that area. And as you exhale, release. Place a focus on your feet, on the arches, your heels and toes. As you inhale, breathe into that area. And as you exhale, release that tension. Feel the weight of the body just sinking onto the mat with every inhale, that big belly breath. And as you exhale, just melt onto the mat. Release any tension that you're holding in the body. Turn your focus to your body lying on the yoga mat, to the room around you, to the noises, sounds. Gently wake up the body by just wiggling ever so gently your fingers and your toes. Roll your head to the right ear comes towards the mat. And then as you inhale, come through neutral and bring your left ear towards the yoga mat, releasing it to the floor. And as you inhale, come back to neutral. And as you exhale, right ear coming towards the floor. And then inhale, back to neutral. Last one. Exhale, left ear to the floor. Inhale, back to neutral. Stretch the arms above the head. Bring the legs out really long. Nice big stretch, big inhale. And as you exhale, release all that tension from the body. Bring the knees into the chest. Keep your eyes closed. Give them a little hug and then roll them to the right side. You come into this a very comfortable sleeping position that we love. And I wish I could leave you in this one, but we're going to, on your next inhale, pushing up using your left palm. Push up from the mat. Keep your eyes closed. Coming back into that comfortable cross-legged seated position. We're going to bring our hands together at our heart center in that prayer position, Namaste. We're going to check our posture. Are we pulling that energy through the crown chakra? Am I sitting tall? Energy through the spine. Shoulders are away from the ears, snuggled back. Shoulder blades coming together. Inhale. And exhale. One more. Inhale. And exhale long. We're going to generate some heat. Rub your palms together. Feel that prana, that life force. Keep rubbing. Once you feel you've got enough heat, place the hands over the eyes. Blink your eyes open under the palms. Become aware of the light. And on your next inhale, rub that heat over your scalp, down your neck, across your shoulders, down your lower back, over your thighs, down the shins, and ending with your toes. A big thank you to your body for supporting you through the practice today. I hope everybody enjoyed. We end the practice, hands together at Namaste, bowing. Thank you guys. Namaste. Wonderful. Enjoy the rest of your evening/day, depending where you're joining from. As always, all your feedback is very welcome. I absolutely love the feedback that's coming through. If you'd like any changes or want to work on any part of the body, let me know and we'll build a practice that accommodates. All the best. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.